think as a society we've become quite wasteful and too ready to, throw things out if they're broken rather than fix them. And I think we're seeing that, the resources of our planet aren't endless, and we need to live in a more sustainable way so that we can continue living on this planet for, hopefully hundreds and thousands of years to come. My name is Simon Kemp. I live here in Burradoo with my wife and 2 boys. And we bought this property almost 3 years ago now, but before that we lived in the city, so we didn't have much experience managing a larger piece of land. We'd spent quite a few weekends and holidays down in the Highlands, and both of us having come from Northern Europe, I think the climate was something we were used to, and we quite enjoyed the cooler evenings and the change of seasons.
My name is Tristan Simpson. I'm from the bush care team run by Wingecarribee Council. Thank you. So the Habitat for Wildlife program that Council runs is for smaller land parcels. To qualify for land for wildlife, it has to be at least half a hectare.
So we heard about the Habitat for Wildlife program from a friend, and we jumped on the council website and found out all about it and signed up from there. So after we signed up, we got a package through in the post which included this guide for planting, as well as this plaque which we can hang on the gate or on the fence to show that we're part of the program.
The process of joining Land for Wildlife, you fill out your application form and send it over to council, and then we'll get in contact with you, set up a date to then come to the property and do a property assessment. During that property assessment, we'll bring a bunch of maps with us. They will outline biodiversity corridors, they'll outline streams, they will outline the PCT types and the vegetation formation, and one that we've recently added is also the koala habitat map. So it'll outlines the habitat that you have on your property and how suitable it is for koalas.
So this is a biosecurity weed, and so is this. So this is the blackberry, and this is flax broom. So for this one here, you can simply at the base of the tree just cut it with a pair of secateurs and dab a little bit of poison on it. You can scrape the near towards the base and apply a little bit of herbicide if you don't want to spray. We'll compile a species list of natives that we find on the site, and then also a list of weed species that we find and treatment methods, and a priority list as well as to which ones to treat first. So for example, blackberry was a very high one on the list, whereas dandelion is very low on the list. So we'll give them as much information to help guide them to make their property more environmentally friendly. One of the easiest ways to do that is to plant more Australian natives that are endemic to this area. They are more accustomed to living in this area, so they're going to last a lot longer, whereas some of these exotics may not survive during some of these more harsher drought periods. So this is called a habby stack. During a bushfire season, it could become a potential hazard for increasing bushfire, although there is a bit of a distance between it and the house, so not too bad, but during a bushfire season you would tidy this up and clear it away. So you get a lot of lizards, lots of different types of insects, and even potentially snakes as well, which is good. It'll keep your rodent population down. The more snakes you have, less mice and rats that you're going to have around the house as well. But it can add protection for small birds if they're being hunted by any sort of domesticated cats from neighbours. It can offer protection for all kinds of different animals.
So I think even though we were quite central to Bowral, we had bushfires coming from sort of the north and the south, right? So emotionally, I think it was a Christmas period that neither of us really felt like we could relax during. One day the fires were coming close down into Mittagong, and we had embers in the kind of almost landing in the back of the property, and then the weather would change, and the southerly would come in and actually start blowing that far away, but blowing the other fire closer, right? So it was quite something new for us to deal with, that and to kind of be worried about, what can we do to, protect ourselves, protect our property, and, just what was going to happen. Right? It was an uncertain time.
The more people that we can get to sign up to the Habitat for Wildlife program, it joins up private areas of bushland that aren't that big, but collectively they add up quite a lot. And in the suburbs there's quite a lot of wildlife around. There's tons of different bird species, possums, gliders, even koalas have been found in Bowral, so there's plenty. So signing up for the Habitat for Wildlife and the Land for Wildlife program increases biodiversity, can save you money on watering plants. Australian neighbours are much more resilient, don't need as much water. And it also increases the climate resilience of your garden. I think people should get a bit on board with sustainability because it's all of our responsibility. It's not just one person, it's not just a corporation or the government, but it takes everybody to be involved and everyone can make a difference with it. If somebody wants to become a member of the Habitat for Wildlife, they can find all the information on the council website.